Hey, good evening, everyone. Welcome to the meeting of council of July 30th. It is 7 o'clock. I will call the meeting to order. First of all, we'll deal with conflicts. Any concerns? Then the agenda now. I have a couple of things, and I understand Councillor Rowe has something. So this, as council knows, is a very long agenda. And we've got people in the gallery that are interested in one topic, but not necessarily everything else. So my proposal to you is that we move items 5.3, 5.4, and what Councillor Rose just mentioned she wants to do, move those to after 6.2. And then also that we move item 10.2 to become 5.9. Oh, that's, oops.
Thank you. I'm going to step out for item 5.6. My kid works there. So I think it's just easier if I step out for that one.
Okay. Let the record show. Oh, good on you. Thank you. Councillor Rowe, do you want to reference?
I just need to speak about acting mayor role schedule.
Okay.
Thanks.
So council, to summarize then, we'll go with 5.1, if it suits you, 5.1, 5.2, 5.5, and so on. What is currently 10.2 becomes 5.9. And then 5.3 becomes 6.3, 5.4 is 6.4, and Councillor Rowe's comments can be 6.5. All right? Whoops, golly, you know, it may well be that we've got to turn up the microphones at the back of the room. Thanks. Yeah, Mr. Allen.
Sure. Thank you, Your Worship.
Whoops.
I apologize for interrupting. Regarding 5.1 notice on title, we've had some recent success with the property owner. We'd recommend deferring that for now and see if we can get to a resolution on that. Thank you.
Okay, well, that saves at least 3 or 4 minutes, I suspect. So great. Okay, so we'll just strike 5.1. Okay. All right. So can I have a motion to that effect, and then all in favor of amending? Carried. Okay, that's the hard work out of the way. Now we'll go to our delegation from the Sunshine Coast Tourism. Annie Wise, Executive Director, has promised she'll take 30 seconds. Hey, welcome. Press the mic. Yeah, great. There you go.
All right. I think we've got a presentation being loaded, but while that's coming up, I'll just say hello and thank you for having me. My name is Annie Wise. I am the Executive Director of Sunshine Coast Tourism. It's my pleasure to be here and present to you tonight. I'd like to acknowledge that the work of our organization takes place both here on the territory of the Sechelt Nation, as well as the Squamish Nation, Tla'amin, Klahoose, and Hamalko Nations. We are led by an 11-member volunteer board of directors that represent many facets of the tourism industry from across the coast. Here in Sechelt, I have one of my directors with me tonight, Linda Williams from the Coast Cultural Alliance. We also have Alicia Adam from the Evergreen Hospitality Group, which owns a couple of the hotels here in Sechelt, plus Teresa Logan from the Downtown Business Association and Sunshine Coast Air, and of course, many others from other parts of the region. So I'm here to briefly share some highlights from our 2024 annual report, as well as our report for the Sechelt Visitor Center, and also come to you with a request for a letter of support, which I'll detail as well. Oh, it works.
Look at that.
All right. So, of course, I always like to start by just making sure that when we talk about tourism, that we're all clear that it's not just about visitors. It's both a powerful economic driver that touches nearly every part of our economy, from restaurants and shops to transportation, the arts, and outdoor recreation. And what we're doing at Sunshine Coast Tourism isn't just about promotion. It's about making sure that tourism supports the well-being of our communities, that creates value for local businesses, and reflects the values of the people who live here. So the work of a destination organization like us is a building block of all other economic development, as the work we do in building and maintaining a destination brand, promotion and sales and place stewardship is all designed to turn this wheel that you see on your screen, which we call the wheel of economic and community vitality. Put simply, if you build a place where people want to visit, you've built a place where people want to live. And if you build a place where people want to live, you've built a place where people want to work, and then so on. They come to invest, and then more people come back to visit. So that's why our work is critical, and I'm going to share some highlights with you. There we go. So just quickly, a few highlights from 2024, all of which, of course, are backed up in more detail in the report provided, if you want to take a deeper look. So first, on our marketing reach, we had more than 14 million ad impressions in 2024, and our website traffic jumped over 39%, reaching 2.4 million page views. We sent 221,000 direct referrals to local businesses, so that's real customers finding places to stay, eat, shop, and explore. On visitor spending and economic impact, we conservatively estimate that $256 million in direct visitor spending happens across the region in 2024. In addition to that direct spending, of course, there's additional spending in the form of, indirect and induced spending, which we estimate to generate a total around $400 million in economic output annually for the Sunshine Coast. As an industry made up almost entirely of small businesses, the money spent in this sector is recirculated over and over again, many times locally. And in Sechelt, 16% of total employment is generated in the tourism sector, which is double the national average at 8%. Third, the traditional accommodation room revenues were up about 10% year over year. And our focus has always been on improving the off-season. We don't do any paid promotions to promote summertime. It's always on the off-season. And so since 2019, total annual room revenues have nearly doubled, but the real insight comes in looking at that off-season where those room revenues have nearly tripled. So they're growing faster than the summer season is growing, and that's our goal. So we're trying to support businesses when they need it the most, and also level out some of the challenges that come with, major seasonal fluctuation. So finally, on media coverage, our region appeared in 57 earned travel media stories in 2024, including the New York Times, the Boston Globe, MSNBC, The Amazing Race, and many more. And these are stories that reach millions and build credibility and showcase the Sunshine Coast to people across the globe. And I just really want to give major credit to my staff and the hard work that they do in this. A lot of people think that these articles that pop up just sort of happen, and that these travel media just decide, hey, I'm going to write an article about the Sunshine Coast today. But we actually oftentimes are working proactively to pitch these stories. We host the media on itineraries and visits to the region to help make sure that the stories they're telling are the types of stories that we want told. And of course, we're always battling that out with perhaps the types of stories that we don't want to be told, like ferries breaking down and things like that. And so it's a real challenge to get those positive media coverage. And we work really hard to make these placements happen. So no destinations without its challenges. Just a quick look at a few challenges we're monitoring. First, on accommodations, the ongoing changes to short-term rental regulations have created a drop in available inventory, and particularly for some types of travelers, like family groups that are looking to all stay like in one house together. Overall, there's been some compression or concentration during peak season with fewer places for people to stay. And that, of course, has real ripple effects on certain types of businesses, restaurants, tours, shops, that kind of thing. So it's a challenge we're continually monitoring, and we know that it's a trade-off. And so we want to, first and foremost, continue to collect great data and help provide that to you for good decision-making. Secondly, transportation. I'm sure it's no secret to anyone in this room. Ferry access in particular continues to be a barrier. We have recently released a BC Ferries messaging guide in our industry newsletter. This is about providing support to local businesses to help them navigate how to communicate with their guests on getting here smoothly, but also to encourage collective advocacy with templated letters that folks can send to the appropriate decision makers, because that's part of the challenge is because of the differences between, BC Ferries, the corporation, commissioner, what needs to go to your MLA, what needs to go to, the federal government. And so helping sort of our industry better understand, where those decision points are and who they should be advocating to. The third challenge we're monitoring is just around industry collaboration. One of our biggest ongoing efforts is simply keeping everyone moving in the same direction. We are kind of an industry of industries, so to speak, but we also work across 2 regional districts, 3 municipalities, and hundreds of independent businesses. So we believe our strength comes from acting like one destination, but that alignment takes constant work. And so the more fragmented we are, the less effective, and we end up duplicating efforts or working at cross purposes. So it's really about keeping everyone paddling together, so to speak. I'm almost done, I promise, Mayor Henderson. So looking ahead to 2025, our focus is on keeping this momentum going and making sure that tourism continues to deliver.
Annie, sorry,
Yeah.
you got to press the,
Oh,
because
There you go.
you're on the new screen. We weren't. So-
thank you. Making sure that tourism continues to deliver value year-round and not just in the summer months. We'll be rolling out key parts of our new 5-year strategic plan, which includes growing sectors like small meetings, corporate retreats, looking at sport tourism and film production, all of which we believe are great fits for our region and will help diversify the visitor economy. And we're also excited to grow our Sunshine Coast Flavor Festival, which was a restaurant week style event that we launched this last spring for the first time and was an all-around success in growing our reputation as a culinary destination and driving foot traffic to restaurants. We're going to continue to invest in good data. We have lots to learn and how we can better understand who's visiting, when, why, where they're going, and making sure that we can serve them better, not just for a great experience, but also to be able to share that kind of information with our partners like you and to support, informed decision making. So we encourage you to reach out with your sort of visitor data questions. What insights are you looking for that we might already be able to help answer or could potentially answer for you in the future? We'll also keep delivering training and workshops for tourism businesses and helping them to adapt to market trends, improving their digital presence, respond to, AI and tourism and all of these things. And so in 2025, we're showing, great year-over-year increases as well, with overall room revenues showing up about 15% across the board. We are seeing significant visits from both American travelers as well as more domestic traveler this year. Some of which is probably no surprise in light of broader economic conditions, but we want to make sure that the Sunshine Coast is sort of riding that wave, so to speak, and that we're positioning ourselves appropriately to take advantage of some of those conditions. So tourism, of course, is currently a tariff-free industry, and so we want to make sure that in these hard times where there's other struggles for businesses and community members, tourism is an opportunity that we can keep unlocking to help sort of mitigate some of those harder economic impacts. So finally, I do come, thank you, with a request for a letter of support from council. This is to support our upcoming application to the province to renew the MRDT for the region. That's the additional tax that visitors pay on their hotel and short-term rental accommodation stays. So in addition to the renewal, which is a mandated requirement every 5 years, our board has also unanimously voted to proceed with a proposed increase from a 2% tax rate to 3%, which is allowed by the province. Those are the 2 options you get, 2 or 3. And so we've been at 2%. We'll be finishing out 10 years. And our board believes it's time to increase that. And so I've sent a backgrounder document on the MRDT program and an example template of the letter of support, I believe was included in the agenda today, but I'll briefly summarize. First of all, it's not a resident paid tax. It's a tax that visitors pay on their overnight accommodation. It's been the primary source of funding for tourism marketing in our region for the past decade, and it's how we've delivered all these results that I just shared with you. With the 1% increase, that will support additional funding to all MRDT funded projects, primarily in destination marketing and those efforts to continue to improve seasonality and diversify the visitor economy with some of those new programs that we talked about with, looking at more like corporate and small retreats, film production, that kind of thing. But it'll also provide more funding through that affordable housing stream as well. And so what's important to know is just that this funding model is initiated and supported by the tourism industry itself in order to have an application to levy MRDT in a region approved, you have to have 51% or more support from the commercial accommodation sector and support from all the local governments. We have that 51% support, and you're my fifth and final government presentation. So I'm looking forward to receiving a letter of support and hope that you'll support our industry in this request. And we look forward to working with you for 5 more years on that. So I will leave it at that. Sorry, I know that was rapid fire, but thank you again for your time, and I'm happy to answer any questions you might have.
Great. Thank you, Annie. Ms. Wise. Okay, we'll go to Councillor Inkster.
I guess. so.
Question.
I guess we can support, I will make the motion to move them to 3%, get a letter from council to move them to 3%. And then if it's seconded, I will speak to it. Thanks.
Okay. And I guess you're suggesting, actually, the motion is that we provide a letter along the lines of on page 11? Okay, seconded?
Yeah.
Yep. Okay, discussion? Yes, oh, sorry, yes, yes.
problem. Big supporter of what this group does always. I always have questions about shoulder season, and obviously others have had those questions. You've been listening, so good job on that. I support this and will always support an organization that gets their funding from the visitors, because otherwise, as has happened historically in the district of Sechelt, we've had to provide the funding for tourism and economic development groups when we don't go this route. So very supportive of this very effective group and the good work they've done, and very supportive because otherwise we have to come up with the money. Thanks.
Great, thank you. Other comments? Can I clarify, I was on the bottom of your document, page 3, our agenda is page 7, and then the top of the next page. I just wanted to make sure I understood the reference to any efforts to significantly alter the approach may jeopardize the support.
Let's see.
Right on the bottom, the very bottom line.
So, yes, thank you. So again, the province will approve any application that, or has the authority to approve the application that we submit. And what we have to demonstrate in that is that there is both support from the commercial accommodations as well as local government. And that provides this really great community-based approach to tourism, so that it's not one or the other running off with, it's a collaborative approach. And so right now, that's generally talking about the split with the affordable housing funds. And so we have funding guidelines in place that direct a portion of that to affordable housing. I know based on some conversations I've had in other communities that there's, a desire to see that increase, which will increase through levying at 3%. But if the sort of percentage share that's been established is significantly altered, we could risk losing support from the hotel sector or vice versa if it goes one way or the other. So I think the report is trying to convey is that we've found a good compromise there, and that I think supports both ends from our perspective.
Okay, great, thank you. Councillor Bell.
Yeah, through the chair. Annie, you do amazing, you and your team. Thank you. Is there anything you're hearing in the community other that people are kind of not happy about in terms of what we're doing as a community, that things that are happening other than BC Ferries?
Oh, that's a great question. I mean, I think that the really important thing is continuing to work together and to have frank and open conversations. Oftentimes when I hear something on sort of one end of the spectrum or the other, it often comes with misinformation tied to it. I think we see ourselves a little bit like gardeners for the destination. We don't control the weather. We can't help if there's a drought, but we can, plant the types of seeds that we want to grow in tourism. So, if you're tracking with the metaphor. And so, if there's different seeds, for example, or, different plants that we want to try to bear fruit, like let's have that conversation. So sorry if that's too metaphorical, but I think that's kind of the idea. Specifically, I know there's a couple of proposals tonight from restaurants and what we think of as tourism businesses. And, to me, like supporting those types of applications and cutting red tape are always, make it easier for our industry. But I understand that has to be in alignment with what the community values. So if there's, good support from the community, we're in support of that as well. And so those types of things. Thank you.
Great. Okay, if there's nothing else, I'll call the question. All in favor of a letter of support? Carried.
Thank you very much.
Nice. Next time, can we be first? Thank you, Ms. Wise. Council, then with that, we'll go, I gave Ms. Wise the time that we were going to use on 5.1. So we'll go to 5.2, the Q2 financial report. And I believe we have Ms. Smith here.
Thank you. Good evening. So before you is the 2025 Q2 financial reports for your information. I haven't provided a presentation tonight, which I'm sure you're glad, but I am here to answer any questions.
Wow, great. Thank you, Council. This is starting on page 47, Councillor Shepherd.
Through the chair, I just wonder if you could describe any kind of variations from budget or expectation that you're noticing, any significant trends? Thanks.
Sure. Thank you for the question. So if you look at some of the graphs that I have in my report, it does show that from the last 3 years, it's pretty consistent. We've received about 91% of our revenue for this year, which is consistent from prior years. And we've spent about 40% of our expenses, again, consistent. So I would say that it's the same. Thank you.
Yeah, please.
Sorry, just a follow-up. If I'm looking at the table on page 50, I thought there was a sort of unusual increase in delinquent. I guess it's delinquent taxes not paid.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Ms. Smith is ready for that question.
Yes, thanks for the question. So normally we provide that information to you at the end of Q3 because the reporting is to the end of July, but this year I wanted to kind of give you a preliminary. So that number is going to be reduced quite a bit by the end of this month. Well, in another week.
That's
It's
great.
probably already lower.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah. Great. Okay, I don't see other questions, so maybe, then we'll go to page 51, Ms. Smith. The Q2 actual numbers, in some cases, I would think, in the ordinary course of business, Q2 would be 1/4 of the 4 quarters. So when I look at, I don't know, on expenses I'm talking about now. So community services, for example, Q2 actual is 1.7, which I think, that's a little more than half of our budget for the year. Is there?
Thank you. So your 1.5 million is what the remaining budget. Yes, 1.7 million is the expenses. Is
For
that what you're referring to?
Q2? Am I reading it correctly?
Q2 is the second quarter, so June
Yeah.
30th.
Right, so just the 3 months we've spent.
No,
or
6.
6, so,
6 months.
so it's actually
year to
year to
date.
date,
Yeah.
not Q2.
We don't do the first quarter just because we're working through
Right.
year end and our.
No,
trying to
okay,
check
thank
it.
you. That's a big help because I was reading it as Q2, but it's year
Yes.
to date. Okay, thank you. Okay, council, others? Had a chance to go through this. Perhaps I'll ask if nobody, building, not sure if this is for you or Ms. Lee, but the building facility renewal, how are we doing? Are we almost done? For this phase?
Yes, thank you for the question. The building facility renewal covers multiple facilities,
Hmm.
but the phase of repairing the outside of this building envelope is complete and moving on to planning for the next phase of that. But in that budget item, there are other facilities as well.
Right, I see, okay. Much smaller. Great. Okay. Nothing from council? All right, then we can have a motion to receive, seconded, all in favor? Received, thanks. Council, then we agreed we'll go to item 5.5, starting on page 273, which is the patio for the Legion. And I guess we've got Mr. Hall. Anything to add or update? You did send a couple, getting the two projects confused, but there were two more submissions. One for each, okay, and they were both supportive, right? Thank you. Yeah, not technical, okay, well, sure, go ahead. Is this for the inlet, for the Legion, rather? Yep, thank you. Yeah, you better. Just to press the big bar on, yeah, that's it. Great.
Okay, I'm Lorene Dawson. I own the property at 5684 Mermaid Street, and my business is there, Hummingbird Naturopathic Clinic. And I'm only concerned about noise. So it's only happened on one occasion with the Legion where it was a very warm day and they had their big windows open and they had the music playing all afternoon. And it's very disturbing for our patients that might be getting therapies that require a bit of peace and quiet. So while I fully support the patio itself, and I'd love to see more people downtown, I'm concerned about noise during my business hours, which would be until 5 o'clock Monday to Friday. So I'm just
Okay.
wondering if there's anything that can be done about that.
Okay, your referenced, okay, thank you. I think protocol is we can hear from you and then council discusses it.
Okay.
Okay, thanks. If you
Thank you.
turn the microphone off too. Thank you. Okay, council, you've got our staff report. How would you like to, Councilor Inkster?
Yeah, I'm fine with approving the request
Okay,
as
so,
presented. And just, I'll speak to it after it's
Yeah.
seconded, thanks.
so that's, you're specifically on page, which one do you want? Page, oh, because there's a number of recommendations.
273, just.
So all four on page 273. Okay, is there a seconder? Seconded? Okay, please go ahead.
Yeah, I think that there's two items on our agenda tonight with outdoor proposals, and just to give you the forewarning, I'm supportive of both, so I'll probably move that one as well. I think it's just good for a lot of reasons. People downtown and tourism. It's good for tourism and people downtown and just make the downtown busier at night. There's lots of reasons why I think that's important to this council. And you can't
Yeah.
hear me?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I was talking to the rest of council, but I'll speak to you then as well. So I was saying that I'm supportive of this one and the later item on the agenda that asks for outside seating. And that I think it's good for the community and good for having people downtown at night. So I'm supportive of that. And I do know of the concern that was brought forward by the lady that has the business down there, but I think that's more in reference to the music. So I hope the Legion members that are here hear that and they take that back to the Legion leadership in terms of daytime music with the business there. But I'm very supportive of outdoor seating. Thanks.
Very good. And I know at this point, I think I'm right, that most days the Legion closes at dinner time. So, yeah. Other comments? Councilor Shepherd.
Yeah, I'm in support of the motion as well, but I'm wondering how, if we could get some kind of comment back from the Legion about how they can control the music so that neighboring businesses aren't bothered. Just to remind council, when approving the liquor license for the Telus Marina, there was a restriction put or recommendation to the province that we restrict any kind of music on the top patio after 8 o'clock. So it's not as formal as that, but perhaps staff could contact the Legion and they could comment on how they'll sort of control the music. Thanks.
Okay, I guess I'm mindful that the noise issue is from an existing business, so I assume we're in compliance with their regulations. So this particular matter before us is not about, patio is not necessarily going to increase the noise. So, but I defer to staff if they've got any comments. Mr. Yates, Mr. Allen.
I think the issue here is noise during business days, during the working hours as opposed to evening. But as noted, staff can reach out to the applicants from the Legion and discuss this issue as a good neighborly advice.
And I'm aware some of the Legion executive are here and with us, so they're hearing it right in real time. Yeah, sorry, Councillor McLaughlin,
Yes, thank you through the chair.
your microphone's not on. Oh, it is, you're holding it.
Yeah, I think as a council, I think even under the community charter, we are required to take into account the quiet enjoyment of people's property. And so if somebody comes and says they're not having the enjoyment of the property, it's too noisy, I think it behooves us to come up with some reason or some way to limit the noise in the community. There's other restaurants there too, which at times might have very loud music. In the evening, probably. But in the daytime, if it's affecting our businesses, I think that is a concern, and I think we should consider some kind of limit, maybe changing our noise bylaw so that there's a certain decibel limit. Because to just say, oh, we're going to have patios and open walls and window walls and let lots of fun happen, that's nice, but it shouldn't be at the cost of the existing businesses. Thanks.
Thank you. Councillor Inkster.
Yeah, I think I already said that the Legion membership is here and they're a community organization. I'm sure they'll take this under advisement. And I have no problem with fun in Sechelt. And I think that us continuing to restrict noise with these businesses, with the 8 p.m. one, I mean, that's going to be interesting. With the 8 p.m. one that we put in place earlier, that'll be interesting to see how that, because, we can always look at restrictions later, but we seem to be putting a lot of muzzling on some of the businesses. And the individual spoke this said there was one instance. So I think they'll take that back. And I think we should still continue to support fun in Sechelt. Thanks.
Thank you. Yeah, I think also a reminder, the thing for the TELUS, the Breeze was a recommendation to the liquor board as opposed to what we're talking about here, which is patio. Councillor Shepherd.
Yeah, just to, through the chair, just in response to Councillor McLaughlin's point, I don't want to investigate the decibel level because it's a whole very complicated issue. It's just to ask the Legion for some sensitivity and addressing it. That's all. It's just a sort of an ask. Thanks.
Okay, very good. Thank you. On a different point. Okay.
Yes, the Legion will probably take it into consideration, but if they don't, they have no recourse without changing something. And, we're having more things happen on inlet, et cetera. And I think the noise level is a concern for the sake of the residents in the village area. And, it's not their responsibility to manage these things and have bylaws for noise. It's ours.
Mm-hmm.
So to just rely on somebody and say they're nice folks, they'll do it, isn't really good enough for me. And also, they could sell that property and to somebody else, and they might just be a heavy metal band group. So,
Councillor McLaughlin.
So
yeah,
we can't just say there's a nice group of folks that are community minded in a certain location and say you know, so we don't need to take our responsibility. I think we overlook this often. Thank
Okay,
you.
thank you. And I would, you mentioned earlier about the noise bylaw. Certainly it's within your authority to propose a notice of motion, for example, if you wanted to modify the noise bylaw. Okay, anything else? If not, then we're voting on the recommendation on page 273. I think items, oh, okay, you don't have it up, 1 to 4. I moved on. Okay, all in favor? Carried unanimous. There you go. Don't all leave quite this quickly. Oh, yes. We'll go to item 5.6. And Councillor Toth will take his leave briefly. Guess you go outside and get some fresh air. So council, this starts on page 281, and Councillor Inkster, you said you would like to move it.
Yeah, yep, I will, yep.
Okay. Again, so all 4 of the recommendations.
That's fine.
Yep.
Yep.
Okay, is there a second?
Yep.
Discussion, do we have a, anything, sorry, yeah. Okay, yeah, I'll just a brief, please come up and, yeah. No, we need it because of the microphone so people can hear. If you'd identify yourself and you do press the bar.
Okay.
Yeah, great.
Hi,
I need to give you just 1 minute. Okay,
okay, I will do it in 1 minute.
thank you.
Okay, so my name is Diane Dara. I live at the Watermark condos. I'm a recent, well, 3 years resident of Seasheld. And when this motion came up, I first read about it in the Coast Reporter. And I started thinking about what was the vision? What was the original vision for the waterfront walkway? And the only information I could come across, and if you have more, you can tell me, was the 2007 vision plan for Seashell. And it was quite detailed and it obviously was done by an urban planner in some way, shape or form. And I started to look at it and I thought, how much of that has been implemented in the 18 years? And how much has Seashell changed in the 18 years? I also thought about some comments that were submitted to the council about creating a vibrant waterfront. And I thought, who defines what vibrancy is? Is vibrancy sailboats or are they jet skis? Because different people have different opinions on what vibrancy is. But what we do know is that urban planners will tell you that to create a vibrant waterfront of restaurants and bars and patios in an existing dense residential area creates all kinds of problems and dilemmas. So now I go back to the original vision in 2007, and I'm walking here today, and I'm walking down that same walkway, and I'm walking by Fred's restaurant, and I have no problem with, you know, restaurants in general, but I'm walking by and I'm thinking 5 feet into the walkway, there are trees, mature trees there. There are elderly people. There are families that use those benches on a regular basis that are going to be affected by that.
Ms. Dara, so I think
Okay.
if I may, you're concerned about the impact of this on the waterfront?
I am concerned, but I'm also concerned that your guiding principle of a vision, a plan for that walkway
Right.
should be taken in consideration when you're considering motions that are going to affect that walkway.
Okay.
So that's,
Very good. Yep.
my 1 minute is
Yes.
up, I take it. Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you. If you wouldn't mind pressing the bar again to turn. Yep, thanks for your input. Council, so we have comments, concerns. I would perhaps we can clarify, is all of this on the district property? I couldn't, in reading the map, it wasn't clear if some of it was on the
The patio
Step back.
itself is on district property. The building is basically at a
Yep.
0 lot line setback, so there's maybe a small area.
Yeah.
But functionally, it's all on our property.
Right. But if I remember, it's not pushing out the sidewalk.
No.
No. Okay. Councillor Inkster.
Yeah.
Whoops. went off.
Shall I turn it off? Oh, wow. So I understand what the presenter was referencing in terms of the waterfront and how I envisioned it when I was part of that plan. A lot of people aren't, but I was part of that plan to put people down there. So I'm okay with some of the ideas that have been put forward by business and otherwise. If you go down there, I don't know what it's from, but there's an actual a sidewalk tile differential, which makes it look like there's something like a deck could sit there. And additionally too, if you walk down there, you'll find people aren't going to necessarily, because I don't do it and I don't see other people doing it, walking right up against the restaurant. People stay away from the window because there's people eating right there. So you don't want to be eating and, oh, there goes that person. So I think that it works to put a deck there because people just don't, and there's awnings there. People don't tend to walk. It's just human nature. We don't walk that close to the building or go under the awnings or walk close to that building. We go around there. I don't, and many other people like, because I was down there and I was looking to see how that's used. And most people stay wide of the driftwood just because the awnings and the tile work and the window and people eating right there. So that's just what I've noticed.
Thank you. Great. Thanks. We'll go to Councillor McLaughlin.
Yes, thank you through the chair. I agree with the speaker. I walk there almost daily. And I believe the patio of sorts was put in there during COVID when we wanted people to sit outside and to have space, and we did a few patios like that. But having experienced this patio here, I think it comes right up to the sidewalk. It's too close. There's people that walk their dogs, meet with their dogs. There's groups of people in the summer going along there. I just think it's too tight in this particular situation. And I don't think it works.
Okay.
Thanks.
Great. Thank you. There's no structure being built like a deck or a roof or anything.
No,
Yeah.
it's just the patio and the fencing itself.
Right. And I read, we sent out letters to 100 meters would take at least some of the watermark.
Yeah, there's the mail out to properties within 100 meters, and then there's the ad in the paper.
Right. But I mean, that included watermark.
Yes.
Yeah, very good. Okay, I don't have any other questions. Anything else? Councillor Rowe, please.
Through you to staff, have we had any complaints around Ocean Club? I understand it's a bit more removed from the walkway, but have there been any bylaw complaints with regards to that establishment that staff are aware of?
I'm not aware of any, but I haven't also talked with bylaw enforcement about that, so.
Thanks.
Okay. If nothing else, I'll call the question. This is on page 281, items 1 to 4. All in favor? Opposed? Councillor McLaughlin is opposed, and the motion carries. And perhaps, can I beg Mr. Hall, would you mind going and waving at Councillor Toth he can come back in? Council, without further ado, we'll go to page 292. Am I right? Yes, 292, which is the development permit for 5476 Mills Road. And we have your council, you've got the report starting 292 for several pages. How would you like to proceed, Councillor Shepherd?
I actually have a question.
Oh, that's fine.
I'm not in support of it. I didn't vote for it when it came up to council before, but my question pertaining to this recommendation or this application is, sorry, is there parking on site through the chair too? Or is it all on street,
Yeah,
Mr. Hall?
Thank you. Yeah, the parking for each lot is all on their property. So at the rear of each property, there's 4 parking spaces. So there will be, as part of the Mills Road frontage improvements, they would have to obviously do a lot of work along Mills Road. And part of that would be creating some street parking, but ultimately the required parking under the zoning bylaw that they have to meet is on their property. So each lot will have 4 spaces at the back where they would access from the rear lane.
4 spaces, so it's to code.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah, but it's coming in that backside the lane, which is, yeah. Counselor Inkster, please.
Yeah, I will continue my non-support of this based on a number of reasons. It's too large for that area and it's too many units concentrated in one spot. And I think parking will be an issue, even if it's got designated spots. I mean, council, if they're supportive of this and parking, they're concerned about parking or they think that it will work, maybe they should consider no parking signs, which would change the neighborhood, to be honest, but it would send a message because I just don't think there's enough parking for the number of units that will be there. So they'll be parking up and down that side of the road. So anyway, I have concerns about parking. I have concerns about the size of the buildings. I have concerns about neighborhood fit in that area, and I'll continue not to support it. Thanks.
Okay, thank you. Counselor McLaughlin.
Thank you through the chair. I'm just wondering, what is the size of the laneways in, say, the village, the lanes that we have?
The width?
Yeah. How many meters?
Mhm.
I would imagine they're meeting the existing standard of a 7-meter right-of-way.
Right, because
To
I
me,
find,
yeah.
I find that when you're built right to the property line, that cars do not have the space. It's difficult, very difficult to maneuver to get in straight to a garage or something. So even at 7, it could be tight, but at 6, I'm afraid the way, if we could have seen the way all the parking's lined up with so many straight together, that I think it would just be way too difficult for most people to try and park in that amount of space, unless they all have mini cars, and I'm not counting on that. But I don't think, they definitely not get a truck in there. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I think we'll find most of the owners will learn to back in because you can actually back in on a much narrower road than you can nose in. And I'll prove it to you one day. Yeah. Into their garages or their carports. So other comments, council? I'm okay. I going to be on the other side of this because I think we have an obligation to provide housing. We're being pressed by the province to provide housing. I think this is, yes, it's different. I think we'll discover that the fit is better than anticipated, than than you've expressed, Councillor Inkster, and we've seen it and gone through it quite a bit. So I remain supportive. Councillor Tough.
Thank you. Yeah, I appreciate that this is less dense than the first proposal that came forward. And I know that this isn't as low density as the neighbors would like to see in that area. But I think there's gonna be a segment of market that these properties will appeal to, and they'll, if you've got 5 cars and a boat in your family, this is not the property for you. But if you're thinking about working singles or even a working couple that maybe one telecommutes and only goes to Vancouver twice a month or whatever, I think there's a lot of opportunity in this complex. And if you're a senior and you're wanting to downsize or something of that nature, like this is an option that doesn't otherwise exist in the district. So I'm supportive of it on that front. In terms of, no parking signs out on the street, I mean, we're literally asking the developer to make off-street parking spots. But if we wanted to sign them, 24-hour parking only, I think that's something our engineering department can just do at a later date if it becomes necessary.
Maximum 24 is what you,
Yeah.
I think. Yeah. Mr. Hall,
Just to clarify too, like with a development permit, just to kind of focus on the scope of decision-making, the zoning is in place. The proposal complies with the zoning bylaw. So the development permit decision is, does this application comply with the development permit objectives and guidelines or not? So just to caution council that the idea of if this is too much or too little, the issue is really, does it meet the DP guidelines or not? Questions around the zoning, the land use, parking, if it complies with the bylaw, then that issue is no longer an issue. It's really the development permit guidelines.
Great, thank you. Yeah. Councillor Bell.
Yes, through the chair, I'm also going to support this. I think we certainly need more stock in terms of for seniors to downsize we hear this on a regular basis. They're in these large homes and they have nowhere else to go. So I am going to support this as an option for people to downsize and other options for families.
Okay, thank you. That sounds like a motion, Councillor Bell. Councillor Bell? Would you like? Page 2. With, sorry, if you could turn your microphone on, please.
I'll support the recommendation that DP 2025-02 be conditionally approved, subject to the issuance of the preliminary layout review PLR letter for the subdivision application.
Thank you. Is there a second? Okay. Any further comments? Okay.
So we've approved, this council has approved a lot of housing already this term we're waiting on, and most of that housing fits. So that's the housing stock that we keep looking for. I guess we're looking for one to be built if we approve it, but we've approved so many hundreds of units. But they fit. This doesn't fit. I think we have, as we speak to obligations, I think we have an obligation to listen to the affected neighborhood, and we're not. The no parking signs, that was just in jest. Problem with no parking signs, they affect the neighbors that have lived there for decades. And that's who I'm speaking and defending with this proposal as to why it doesn't fit for me. Thanks.
Okay, thank you. Seeing nobody else, I will call the question. All in favor of the recommendation on 292? Opposed? Councilors McLaughlin and Inkster are opposed. The motion carries. Council, with that, we go all the way to page 337, which is for the DVP for the same property. This is regarding the reduction of the width of the lane. Can we turn it up by? Yep. 1, 2, 1, 2. 1, 2, is that better? Yep. Great, thank you. Okay, so we've got on 337, and how do you want to proceed, council? Quick question.
Yeah,
Okay.
just a quick one.
Mhm.
I would appreciate a reminder from staff if the reduction from 7 meters to 6 meters was part of the original proposal or not.
Mr. Hall?
Yeah, I mean, I guess if we go back to the very first rezoning, when they were looking at just single-family dwellings prior to the small-scale multi-unit housing issue, they were looking at access from Mills Road and no rear lane. As part of the follow-up rezoning and with all the small-scale multi-unit housing pieces, they were looking at servicing the lots with, water, sewer, et cetera, from the rear and providing access from the rear. And they had originally proposed just a private easement, and that's where we made the decision that that should be a public lane, since all the services were going to be back there and access was going to be there, that it should just be a public lane. So the width issue is more to try to fit it on the property and still have lots that can be built on. So I guess the requirement for the lane is coming from the district, and we're supportive of the variance to allow a rear lane to be put in here, where the 7-meter wide lane standard is actually quite wide. If you go to some of the areas where we have the 7-meter wide lane that's fully built out, it's actually quite wide. And it is meant even with a 6-meter wide lane, there'd still be a two-way pathway for cars. And 6 meters is probably more typical in areas like Vancouver and others. So we're still confident that this will be a functional two-way lane.
So can I just, I agree with Councillor Toth's question, did we see this before?
Yes.
At 6 meters?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Other comments? Councillor McLaughlin?
Yes, thank you through the chair. I think in a lot of those cases where you might have a smaller lane, you also have building setbacks, rear yard setbacks. And so we don't really have much of anything here because they've put so many units together. That makes it difficult to park. And my neighbor does back in and he has to drive onto my setbacks to get in. And I just accept that. But I don't think that's something we should be building deliberately. Thanks.
Okay, thank you. I didn't get a motion, I don't think. Somebody be interested in making a motion? Councillor Bell? Page 337.
I'll move the motion.
Thank you, Councillor Rowe.
Page 337.
Okay. And second? Second. Okay, any other discussion? Call the question, all in favor? Opposed, Councillor Inkster and McLaughlin are opposed, the motion carries. All right, Council, with that, we go to the agenda amendment, we'll go to the letter 10.1 from Connect the Coast on page 541. Okay, this is give the computer a chance to, or computers a chance to get all the way to that page. So this is a request for a letter of support from Connect the Coast. Councillor Shepherd.
Yeah, I'll move that council supports the letter of support.
Okay, and second, Councillor Inkster, I saw first. So now do you want to speak to it?
I'll second support the support.
Whatever Councillor Shepherd said. Okay. Any comments? I mean, I would just offer, I commend the group. You guys have been diligent and persistent, and the part I still struggle with, and many people know, we've just got the new alternate route study from the province, and it still doesn't deal with the problem that every time I drive through Selma Park, I worry about somebody on a bicycle. And with the rules of 1.5 meters, to give you 1.5 meters, if there's 2 of you and 2 of us in cars, I don't know how we fit. So I guess by way of a challenge, I'm saying how do we continue with the work you're doing, but also confront that juggernaut that isn't going away? Councillor Shepherd and then Toth.
Sorry, through the chair. I also wanted to commend TRAC. I did attend the slow food cycling event on the weekend in Gibsons, and it fantastic event, really well organized, a lot of buy-in from vendors, and it's just another reason that we should be supporting it to support funding for slowly, segment by segment, improving cycling on the coast. Thanks.
Thank you. Councillor Toth.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm totally supportive of this ask, and I'm supportive of the work that TRAC and Connect the Coast is doing. One thing I did want to highlight, though, is that it was identified in that bypass study that, you know, an off-highway alternate route should be looked at for Selma Park and Davis Bay for active transportation, which I thought was reasonable given the narrowness of the highway through there. And so I'm just, a question for our staff, is that contemplated as part of our transportation master plan? And when do we expect to see that come forward for review?
I'm on a
Thank you for
swivel
that.
here trying to find, okay, great.
Yes, thank you
please.
for that question. So the Transportation Master Plan has recommendations for things to advocate for in the highway corridor, but we don't actually plan for it because we don't have authority there. So our focus for the transportation plan for Seashelt is in the areas where we do have jurisdiction. We can expect to see the plan that it's in draft form now being reviewed by staff. So that will be coming to council in the fall for final adoption.
So if I may, I hear you, and of course, if it's on the highway, it's not our responsibility, but to Councillor Toth's point, maybe we should contemplate that we need bike solutions that are not on the highway because.
Yes, certainly. Thank you for that clarification. So we are looking for connections that are off highway. And in the long term, we can secure those through development or different means. But again, there is no continuous route that would provide that at this time. So we're looking at that in the longer planning horizon, and that is within the plan.
Right. Okay, great. Thank you, Councillor Inkster.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how that plan that was just spoken by Miss Lee, how that comes together. But I'm sure the community and bikers are well aware of the Chapman Creek trails and the really good bridge that we put in up there a number of years ago, I think 2011, 12. I'm sure TRAC's well aware of it and that those are trails that could be used for bicycles. They seem wide enough anyway, as well as for pedestrians. So it's a little bit higher up, but it's another alternative route. It's beautiful too, by the way. Yeah, right beside the creek. Yeah.
Okay, it might be a bit of a detour to, off the highway to go up there to come back to the highway. Councillor McLaughlin.
Thank you to the chair. Yeah, I commend TRAC, but I always remember finding out that they have certain standards they like, and they like to go along the highway. And it doesn't look like that's going to be in the cards for us, but we do need, I think, some help. If they could help us and get some feedback to our transportation plan on a internal route, secondary route. I think it's really critical for people in Seashelt to be able to get around Seashelt on their electric bikes, on their bikes. And I know some parts are steep in Salmo Park, the internal roads, but I do think I've done it myself. It's doable. And it's all we have. So I really would like to build on an internal local system. And one day, hopefully, it'll meet. And even if we don't get the highway standards that you want, at least there'll be a route that people can come and get through Seashelt of some sort. That's a nice route. It's a beautiful spot. So I'm hoping we can do some planning together and keep supporting you and maybe one day get that perfect dream fulfilled. But in the meantime, I think for lots of reasons, even emergency preparedness, we do have to build another secondary route that residents can use. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So, can I get a motion to, I think, reading the room to provide a letter of support, I guess as on page 542 and 543. Councillor Bell, second. Councillor Inkster. Any discussion? All in favor? There you go. Now you're driving home, I trust. Okay, thanks, Council. With that, I believe we then move to item 6.1, which is the OCP amendment and zoning amendment for the Francophone School, District 93. So we start on page 343. And council, everybody there? Councillor Toth.
Not going to change how I vote tonight. I'm supportive of this work. I have a question that in light of the conversations that we've been having lately about workforce housing and housing options in the communities, do we know if the Francophone School District looked at any sort of workforce housing as part of this development?
I put. Oh, right, and we don't have Mr. Baker with us, or, oh, he is. Oh, there we go.
Good evening, council. As far as I'm aware, I don't believe so. However, I do believe that the representatives from the school board are here. So perhaps they could comment on that. I believe they just need some permissions
Right.
to.
Oh,
to
they're
speak.
waiting to be let in, perhaps on Zoom. Yeah, we'll just, there. Yes, Mr. Rassi. We can promote.
Good
him.
evening. Can you hear me?
Can, thank you.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. So, to this question, the district in many other locations has been open or views favorably having the allowable use for at least staff housing. However, just to be clear, the district doesn't have any type of funding to build the housing. So while it likes to have the opportunity to be able to provide that in the future if funding is available, the province doesn't usually, or at least hasn't historically funded housing for staff to school districts. So we approach it with openness, but we don't necessarily have the funding to do that.
Thank you. Okay. Other comments? Councillor Shepherd.
Yeah, I'll be in support of this motion. I mean, they've submitted an updated, I think traffic was one of the key problems that a lot of the people wrote in about or attended the public hearing. And they've submitted an updated traffic report. There are very few traffic improvements that are really required. So I'll be supporting it. Thanks.
Thanks. I've got a bit of a different interpretation because the traffic plan that I read, I don't think it recognizes the intensity. There's 30 vehicles, but they're all going to arrive within 15 minutes of school. And that caused me some question. And Mr. Baker, I don't know if you can offer us any clarification. And so two-part, that is one. And then there's a reference on page 344 to a future east-west street connection. Is that the connection that potentially would tie into Tyler if Tyler was to be extended?
Yes, so perhaps I can try and answer the first question. Yeah, so for the morning peak hours, it would be, as per the traffic impact assessment, would be up to 17 vehicle trips, and that's based on the 2030 scenario. So that's when the school would be built if approved. And then it would increase up to 32 vehicles in the morning and the 2040 scenario.
Right. No, I read that. I'm challenging the underlying assumption perhaps, but anyways, I've said my part of that. Councillor Shepherd.
Yeah, Chair, just to respond to that, I think what they're saying in the recommendations of the traffic study is given the design of the improvements, it'll function normally. So they've taken into account the frequency of the drop-offs and so forth, and have said that it's designed to what's required.
Mm.
So
yeah, and I'm challenging the fundamental assumption. So I'm questioning it. Challenge is too strong. I'm questioning the word, the basic assumption. Okay, and I don't know, Mr. Baker, if you can offer, is there a plan, any transportation plan to extend Medusa into Tyler, an extension of Tyler or Derby or whatever?
Thank you. I can speak to that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the intention here is to keep the option open to continue Medusa onto a future road network up in that undeveloped area. So that is correct.
Right.
That's the intention.
Okay. Okay, thank you. Thank you, Councillor McLaughlin.
Yes, to the chair, through the chair. I think, hopefully most teachers don't show up 15 minutes before class starts. I think, they'd come sooner than that by and large, and it'll take years to reach their full capacity. And I got to say, having background in school facilities planning, this is a very small school. And the reason at the public hearing, I was talking a lot about parking and buses and that, because it's clear, there's like a maximum of 3 school buses, and they could be mini buses. So I think we've got a lot of clarification on that, and how the students get to school. And in that regard, I think a lot of parent pickup and drop off is not an issue here, because they do take buses. So, yeah, I'm in support of it totally. And by the time it's built out, we may have more roads. We may have, it seems like a very good location, especially to be next to the high school. It's a dream spot, really, in many planning ways. So thank you.
Okay, thank you. I hope that SD 93 is talking to SD 46 for alternate routes as well, in addition to Medusa. I think there's some scope for that, hopefully down the road. No pun intended. Yes. Yeah, please.
Just a question, because we have one of the proponents online here, I'm assuming. The property that, as we get to this becoming reality, the property that you'll be vacating, whose property is that?
I'm not sure if that's fair to go to Mr. Rassi, but
Yeah.
I believe it's SD 46, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
oh,
we're getting
okay.
nods. Yeah.
Are we getting that?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Wow, be nice one day, be nice housing.
Wouldn't
lot.
it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Workforce teacher housing.
Housing.
Yep. Okay.
Councilor Rose.
Okay, council, I did not yet get a recommendation, so Councillor Toth.
I will move the recommendations on page 343, all of them.
1, 2, 3, 4 with a bunch. Second. Okay, any other questions? All in favor? Carried. Very good. Thank you, Mr. Rassi. Thank you, Mr. Baker. It's much darker where you are. Oh, no, much lighter. Later. Council, we then go to item 6.2. Thank you. We'll go to page 488,
Sorry, we do have the zoning amendment bylaw.
485. No, is that right? We'll do the zone OCP amendment on 485 first.
Oh.
Yes, great. Thank you. Okay, council, so this is starting on page 485 for essentially that page. Is everybody okay with, this is before us for third reading, motion seconded for third reading. All in favor, third, carried. And then we go to page 488. And again, one page plus attachment. Third reading, seconded. All in favor of third reading? Carried. Third, yep. Okay, thank you. And again, I guess they've already left, but. Okay, council, I think then now I can go to 6.2. Page 491. Council, how would you like to proceed? Council, how would you like to proceed? Yes, Councillor Shepherd, thank you.
I'll move the recommendation on page 491.
Seconded?
Yep.
Okay, any discussion? Just. I do have a question, Mr. Allen. It's within the wording of the bylaw itself on page 493, down near the item to the, I think we raised this in the last discussion around this. Are A, B, C, D, and now E, are they and or like?
It could be a combination of both. It's an if, because in some cases it's the creation of 3 or fewer lots from subdivision. In other cases, it's the addition of dwellings, which could be on a singular parcel. So they
Mhm.
don't all always apply. So it's a conditional scenario.
So I think it would be
Yeah.
or.
For the first two, it could be both. But it could be just one.
Okay.
Whereas the other ones are a given that it complies with the bylaw. Development permit area guidelines confirms with the zoning bylaw. So the other ones are more
Okay.
statements. It's for A and B, and then the rest of them are perfunctory requirements.
Okay.
So it could be an or after A, but it's,
Well, I think I'm hearing you just that it's A or B, but then you need C, D, and E.
right, because it must
Yeah.
substantially comply with the guidelines in order for us to issue a development permit. It's belt and suspenders. You could omit that entirely. It just provides
Mhm.
additional clarity.
Okay, and okay, council, you okay with that? Okay, so we'll go back to the staff report. Any other comments? Counselor Shepherd, is your microphone's on? Nope. Okay. Counselor McLaughlin.
Yes, thank you through the chair. I don't know if Director Allen was here when we last discussed this, but I had reservations about perhaps having what would be a larger, obvious lot, having it subdivided into 3, and then having possibly 4 units put on it without coming to council. I think that's just, at this point, we don't really know the complexity of that kind of design. And since it would be largely broadly applied, I don't support this at this time because I'm just not comfortable with the possible design implications, and I'd like to see it. I think, it's quite a different thing than what we're used to, so,
Mhm.
thank you.
So, am I correct that in theory, we could end up with subdivision into 3 lots of 3 or 4 homes under this, and it would apply under this procedure?
Yes, that's correct. In theory, that could happen.
Mhm. Okay.
There's a scenario in which I can choose to bring that to council.
Of course,
Or
yeah.
if I were to deny that development permit application, the applicant has the right to come to council.
Right. Okay, but, so that's the clarification. Thank you. Okay, Counselor Toth.
Thank you. Just if I may, and I don't disagree with Counselor McLaughlin's reservations around, somebody potentially playing silly monkey with A and B there to move something through. But it does say in 9.7 that, they may be issued by the Director of Planning and Development. So I would trust that if the director or his successor feels that there's some sort of silly business going on there, he could simply bring it to council as a means of, surfacing it. Yep.
Go ahead.
Yeah, thanks. Successor.
Just move that along.
Okay.
You're gonna leave that one
What are your plans?
out of
So,
order.
yeah, so I said that before. I trusted the professionalism of our staff in terms of this. Said that before, so I'm supportive.
Okay, thank you. Okay, I would, yeah, that, if council is happy with 9.7, the CD and E, that's certainly not a big issue. Okay, I'll call, first of all, we have a recommendation moved and seconded on page 491. All in favor? Carried. And then oh, I'm sorry. Okay, and then we go to page 493, which is the bylaw related 56603/2025 as printed. And this is before us for adoption. All in favor? Carried, opposed, Councilor McLaughlin. And that's that. Okay, so I think then we go back to page 56. And this is the council communication policy. Okay, so please, Ms. Roberts.
Thank you, Mayor Henderson. This is before you tonight just for council discussion. It is overdue for review. So that is the only objective of tonight, is to decide whether you'd like to amend its utility, rescind it, or have it carry on with a new date. So I'll leave it to council. Thank you.
Hey, Councilor Shepherd.
Yeah, I'm going to speak in support of option one. I just think over time, and I'm one of the worst offenders at breaking the policy and doing things quickly without thinking. So just month after month, it's human nature. It just becomes, I become more lax in how we deal with it. I think we know the central problems about how it's being brought in or why it was originally brought in. I'm certainly willing to keep working on those and listening to ideas on those, but I'm speaking in favor of option one.
Thank you. Councilor Toth.
Thank you. I am generally supportive of extending it as well.
Extending
Oh,
or
my
rescinding?
apologies. Option one was rescinding. Sorry, my apologies. I'd be in favor of continuing it on. My suggestion, though, if we were to continue it on, would be to perhaps amend 1A to also, read with the exception of the CAO and the executive assistant. That would be pretty much the only way I'd support keeping it going forward. Because I think it's important that we're able to communicate with our EA quickly without having to necessarily funnel through multiple staff. Thanks.
Okay, so that's rescind, and this is keep it with as amended. Okay, other comments? I've got a point of clarification. If we rescind it, so that means it goes away. So is there a proposal if it was rescinded, what happens?
Thank you for the question. It would go back to how it was before the policy existed. So there would be free flow of communication between council and staff, in particular with our one employee model that would be to the CAO as well as to the executive assistant. But council would also have the opportunity to speak to staff. Thank you.
Right, thank you. Yeah, I was trying to remember. I don't know that this is a new one, right? So it's not, we would go back to the old one because there wasn't one. Okay. Others? So in a sense, no, they are different. Yeah, they are different.
Sorry, just
Yep.
for through the chair, just so I understand Councillor Toth's. Councillor Toth is opting for option two.
Right.
Yeah.
Where 1A at page is that?
And
Go ahead.
is there a term? Is that to the end of the council term?
I think most policies are in place until we choose to amend them. Please, Councillor Tom.
Thank you. I will admit, with everything wrapping up for the summer at the regional district and this being a 550-page agenda tonight, I probably didn't give it as much thought as I should have. I would like to have seen us discuss the policy at a committee of the whole meeting so we could have a little bit more robust conversation on it. I would be supportive of continuing enforcement of this until we can discuss it at our next committee of the whole, which would be in September. But I'm just not a fan of it going away into the ether. Thanks.
Okay, so that's not a motion yet. Okay. Counselor Inkster.
So just some clarification then, I mean, if we then just had a motion to defer and or table, the existing policy in place would continue till that time.
Yes. That's right.
That's a simple way to deal with this. Yeah. Just looking for clarification, if I can, through you to our corporate officer, which motion should I use? Because I will certainly introduce that to move
Okay.
it to that
A
next
motion,
meeting.
well, a motion to defer would take precedent.
Okay, so I'll,
And-
yes.
Yep.
Okay, sure. I'll make a motion to defer to the next committee of the whole, if that's what was being proposed. Second? Yeah, okay.
Okay, I think I'm right, there's no discussion on deferral. So, all in favor of deferral? Carried. Okay, we will then go to 6.4, page 60. And this is the governance audit update. Again, I guess Ms. Roberts.
Thank you, Mayor Henderson. I believe it's 5.4 for those following along. The governance audit is brought forward again tonight. We had it in the fall, so September 2024. We discussed an implementation plan of the audit, and so it's before you tonight for transparency to let you know what we have done and what is still outstanding. So there are 26 recommendations in front of you tonight that have not been completed or are on hold. And we're just looking for discussion or direction on the remaining recommendations. Also, for full transparency, it has been asked by council and also by public on the cost of the governance audit. And so I just wanted to be completely clear of that because it will not show up until that's published in 2026. And so it was $48,216 in total for the staff and council audit that was done by George Cuff. And again, that was a niche governance audit that we unfortunately needed at the time. And I'm hoping tonight to have a bit more direction on what we can do with the remaining recommendations. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Council? Councillor Shepherd, then Councillor Inkster.
Thank you, through the chair. Sorry, I am, through the staff, I'm confused where the 26 came from. I took the attachment 3 and went through it. I come up with 44 if I go point by point. Am I wrong?
Thank you for the question. I can recount the recommendations. Some of them at the end will say incomplete or on hold. There are a number that are listed that we have completed. So they don't necessarily say completed, but we're not looking for action on those. It just gives you an update on what we have done.
Okay. All right. Thank you for that. I mean, it's crazy to spend $48,000 and then not sort of move ahead with most of the recommendations. You know, all I did was just take Schedule A, break down what is sort of completed. It appears to me that anything that our senior management had to do, they did. What's not happened is the sections pertaining to the mayor or the mayor and the CAO or council, to be fair. Council haven't done a lot of these things. But in reflecting on what is not happening, I'm sort of just convinced that council can take one of two directions. One is just to say, hey, these are not going to happen. We know it's sort of been going on. They're not going to be completed. And then I think that's a terrible waste of the expertise that CUF has brought. So I'm going to have an idea on that. The other is to sort of take an active step to try and break the loggerhead that's developed. And I'd like to listen to council's views, but I'll have a suggestion on that. Thanks.
Thank you. Councillor Inkster, I think you were next.
Yeah, thank you. Just two things. One is in reference to the information that was asked of Ms. Roberts on the cost of this audit. There's been a number of audits done. There's a project audit done in the District of Sechelt a number of years ago that cost some money. There's been a number of audits done on government projects in the Sunshine Coast. The Regional District did an audit of the organization in the early 2000s, and there's lots of jokes about lines going in all different directions with the new plan. Locally, it was some lampooning it, but the expense was there. When audits are done, when discussions happen, when there's investigations, there's always costs associated with that. I guess people ask because they would like us government to proceed without any kind of audit ever. Maybe that's their reasoning, but sometimes audits need to be done. In terms of this particular one and the recommendations contained therein, I mean, Councillor Shepherd may speak next to this, and that's fine. But if what I would suggest as well is that we bring this back again in 2 months, because we should, I mean, we did spend some money on this, and when we spend money, we need to be fiduciarily responsible for the results. So if in fact Councillor Shepherd has a proposal, I'm certainly supportive of that, but also to bring this back again in 60 days to discuss once again, because there were a number of important recommendations. Thank you.
Okay, so your comment for the moment is to leave it and deal with it in 60 days? Is that what I'm hearing?
It's an alternate suggestion to what Councillor Shepherd may be proposing, because I don't know what he's proposing. I haven't talked to him about this. But he may be proposing a set of actions that may or may not lead to resolution. If in fact it doesn't need to lead to resolution, which I'm so looking forward to, I would propose that we come back in 60 days to discuss an important government document. Thanks.
Okay, so sounds like a motion to defer, but you're not making it as yet. No. Okay, other comments? Please, Councillor.
Yes, through the chair. Oops. I also support deferring, but for the reasons that this is a very important report. We spent a lot of time, both money and human resources on this. And if every report like this is very clear in terms of what gets done and what doesn't. So this is a very important, to me, accountability report. And if we don't have that built in and go back and look at this, then I don't think that we've made the best use of our time and resources. I'd like to spend more time and defer.
So are you making that a motion?
I'll make it a motion.
Okay. So that's a motion for which we would need a second. No? Okay. Is there a second? Okay.
I can't.
Sorry, I've just got to, so, yeah, is there, you're seconding or not? No, okay. So that motion dies. Councillor Rowe.
I actually don't want to spend the summer thinking about this. To be honest, this has been on our plate. For me, it's pretty cut and dry. And the report was pretty clear that what the number one recommendation was that the mayor would issue an apology, and that hasn't happened. So for me, I don't necessarily look at these in isolation of that. What I would be most interested, though, is that work is completed that would set the stage for the next council. Those things that were identified, that's the most important thing for me. I think everybody, you know, from the local coffee shops to the news outlets has recognized that the District of Sechelt is experiencing issues at the table. And at this point, with a year left, I think it's a bit of a fantasy to think those are going to go away. Not to say that we shouldn't be working on things that we can complete within our term that sets things up from a governance perspective for the next council. That's all I've got to say right now.
Okay, just because I haven't had a chance to speak to it yet. Apologies, Counselor Bell. I didn't support or didn't second that motion just because Counselor Shepherd teased us with a couple of ideas on both options, but then didn't elaborate on anything. So I really want to hear what he has to say before I contribute much more. So those are my comments for the moment.
Okay, yeah, I didn't support the motion respectfully, through the chair. I just don't think this, and to Councillor Inkster's idea of deferring it, I don't think if we defer for 2 months, it comes back to this council, I don't think we're going to resolve anything. If we haven't to date, then we're not going to break this logjam. So what I'm going to propose is that the district contact the Ministry of Municipal Affairs and we bring in a mediator. Now, they have experience dealing with difficult situations that are occurring amongst some councils. It's the only other thing I can think of to try and get through where we are, or we're not going to make progress on the rest of the resolutions. And I'm just desperately trying to think of other measures. So I'm going to propose that. That's my motion.
Okay, that's a motion. Is there a seconder? Yeah. Can you say more about what that, you two have presumably talked about this?
Well, my question actually is through you to staff. Just reading what other communities have done. It's not, it's a pretty popular thing out there in this term that municipalities have asked provincial mediators or advisors to come in. So I just wanted to confirm before we go forward with the conversation, does staff know if there's actual cost to that to the municipality? 'Cause that should be considered.
Thank you for the question through the chair. This was something that was suggested to us in the previous months, and there is no cost to the district. So it is a provincially funded, and it's called a municipal advisor. So you will have seen it in other communities around BC, and there's no cost to the district of Sechelt.
So then in my view, there's no reason not, like, why wouldn't we do it?
Councillor Shepherd?
Yeah, just to sort of, Chair, you've asked for trying to fill out this idea. I'm not trying to apportion blame to any one group here, because if you take a look at the recommendations, what I've said is, I think it's senior management that are the only ones that have completed their tasks. So it's council, CAO, mayor that seem to be the blockages. So there's problems in multiple areas, and I'm just thinking that with the expertise that the province has developed just in the last sort of 40 years, they should be able to bring something to this. Thanks.
Councillor Inkster?
Yeah, I think we should be careful as to where the solutions may lay and what we speak to. I will support this. And as I had said earlier, if we couldn't find a solution tonight to at least bring in somebody to look into this and work with us, I was prepared to bring it back 2 months and then bring it back 2 months and then bring it back every 2 months. That would bother some council members, but I think we need to talk about resolutions, and if we need to not give up. So I'll be supporting this.
Councillor Bell?
Yes, through the chair, I'm also going to support really what in the deferred piece for me was really, I want to see some action on this. We really haven't brought this back for some time to talk about it really seriously and go through it. And I think I think it's having a third person involved will help guide a conversation and facilitate it when we all may be a little stuck and we've been in this for so long. So I agree. I'd like to bring somebody in and just have them guide and facilitate from a different perspective. I'll support some bringing.
Okay, anything else? Is it to my turn? First of all, I reject the categorization that I've not apologized. I've said this to council before. I gave an email on June 11th that I considered actually before we formally reviewed the CUF report. And I'd ask you to go back and look at that. The second is, you know, and this one is very awkward, but there have been other confidential matters that have been at play. And those are things we can't discuss, but they've impacted our ability to move forward on the CUF report. So I had no idea that this idea of asking for the ministry to appoint somebody, I don't know how it works. I don't know how that person is selected. So there's a question mark, but I totally agree. We have to figure out how we're going to deal with getting things done for Sechelt. And that's what I'm committed to. So, yeah, there's a lot in this document that caught me, including where the 26. So I wasn't clear. So I don't feel comfortable supporting the appointment at this stage simply because I'm not aware of how it works or how the person is appointed. Usually in a mediation, there's some input from all parties into who the person or persons is. So those are my comments.
I'm
Councillor
prepared to
Engstrom?
vote on this.
Yes,
But after that, I have a question.
Councillor McLaughlin.
Yeah, after I want
I
to
just
vote.
have a question. I want to know like how long this process would be. Because if it's another process, I don't know if it's really going to be very fruitful for, but.
Thank you for the question. I'm not entirely sure how long the process would take. It is a much more transparent process, so they're updating along the way. It's not as in-depth as the investigation, like as the audit would have been, but this is, again, a free service and an opportunity to use some outside help to look at the audit and consider the next year ahead of us. So I'm not entirely sure, but they would be updating more frequently than, say, the George Cuff report that it was just in his hands and we were answering questions. So I hope sooner, but I couldn't get a timeline on it for you.
Okay, thank you. I'll call the question. Could we?
Sorry, can I
Yes,
just, for
please,
point
yeah.
of clarity, the motion that I understood is that a municipal advisor from the Ministry of Municipal Affairs be contacted to assist council with the progression of implementing the CUF report recommendations. Is that accurate? Okay. Can we repeat the motion on the floor?
Go ahead.
I was just going to say it would probably not add the CUF report because it would be is a separate to that. They might look at that, but it'll be requesting the province for a municipal advisor.
So I just have that the Ministry of Municipal Affairs be requested to assist council.
Yep. So is that? And you seconded, I believe, Councilor Top. You second? Okay. So, okay. So, okay. Well, this is very much on the fly, and as I say, I don't think don't like doing things, especially things as substantial as this coming up on the fly. So I will not be supporting that part of it. Getting these things done is important to me. I would have been appreciated if they'd come back to us in pieces over the last several months, but here we are. So I'll call the question. All in favor? And I'm opposed.
You remember?
Yes, I do remember you had a question, but why, how does that follow our protocol to ask a question afterwards? Is it on this topic? Okay, well, go ahead.
Okay, so we're moving forward in some manner, but you had mentioned that there was a number of issues that should be discussed in a different way and or in camera. Are you proposing that you'll be doing that? Just clarifying so that we can discuss those?
Yeah.
Yeah. You had indicated
No,
10 minutes ago?
I said that there have been other matters, confidential matters that have been at play that we can't talk about that had impacted our ability to deal with some of the Cuff report matters. So there's no comment about action coming from that statement.
Oh, so if we put the report in camera though, could we, because you say it's confidential, could we not talk about the issues you're referring to? I mean, that's an efficient way to
Certainly.
do it. Okay. Okay, that's an idea then. Okay, thanks.
Please, Councillor Toth.
Thank you. Councillor Inkster had also mentioned the idea of sort of referring this down the road a couple of months to have further conversations on. And I don't know if council wants to make a motion to that effect at this time, or if we want to wait and see what the province has to say, but I think there are items in here that, irrespective of whether we get a municipal advisor or not, I think there are things in here that we definitely could discuss and maybe make some headway on. So
Yep.
I would be in favor of referring this to a September committee of the whole for further discussion.
Totally agree. So that's a motion. Okay, I'll second that. Any discussion? I think I'd appreciate whatever it is, whether it's 26 or 25 or 32, that we are dealing with them very clearly on which ones we want to proceed with immediately or which ones we want to perhaps do a bit later. So in the staff report to accompany this, please.
Yeah, I'll agree to that motion. I mean, in my view, it was if we're going to, and I'll just leave this as a note, as a sort of final comment. You know, under 9 CEO administration, council was asked to conduct a CEO performance review. This is still not done. Like, that has got to be done this year, before the end of the year. So I would hope that, you know, when this does come up, council of the whole, I'll be asking that as a sort of first priority.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so we have a motion. You okay, Ms. Forster? Got that? Yeah, very good. Okay, all in favor? Opposed? Councillor McLaughlin is opposed and the motion carries. Anything else? Okay, and we'll go to page 495 and the minutes of the meeting.
My item?
Oh, beg your pardon.
No worries.
Councillor Rowe.
Thank you. Just speaking to acting mayor, which is a role I've been in since 2022, I guess. So lots of things going on that I won't get into here, but can certainly talk about them in a closed meeting. But it's resulted in advisement from a physician, which I hate having to listen to them as a nurse, to step away from what I can. So I'm asking my council colleagues for a break from being acting mayor, starting Toot Sweet. And I'd like to nominate Adam Shepherd.
Okay, thank you. Just so, okay, so motion and seconded, although it's been moved and seconded, but we need to See if they-
Talk about things being done on the fly that you haven't been consulted with. Yeah, of course. Of course, I'd take that on from Councillor Rowe.
Okay, you're okay? I mean, no, I'm, yeah, it's, it's a lot to be thrown at you, so. Counselor Toth.
Thank you. I guess my only question for Councillor Rowe, I don't know if Toot Sweet is something that we can put in the motion, but, you know, like effective August 1st, and do you have a forecast of an end time at this point, or just sort of? until
I'd sort
further
of like
notice?
to maybe reassess it in 3 months. Being a bit facetious with Adam, and I did actually talk to him about this the other night, so it isn't the first time he's heard me say that I was gonna have to step aside from it, but I mean, we can also look at like a rotation or something else. I just, the cognitive burden is great, and I need out right now for a couple months. So I appreciate the support, and let's say we can look at it again October 1st or something like that.
Okay, so the motion is that Councillor Shepherd is appointed acting mayor effective August 1st, and we will review it. I mean, that's only 2 months if you say October 1st. So-
August, September, okay. Well, let's do 2 months, that's fine.
So
Let's
3
do.
months? So what did you?
Adam, are you okay if we do November 1st?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay,
November
so
1st.
for a period of 3
months.
months with a review to be undertaken prior to that date. Okay, that was moved and seconded. Yep. No, okay, any discussion? All in favor? Carried? Okay, now I think we can go to the minutes. Thank you, Councillor Rowe. Anything, this starts on page 495. And anybody got any questions? Anybody? Okay. I have none for the meeting of June 18th, including the AGM. So I'll entertain a motion to adopt and seconded. All in favor? Carried. Then go to page 503, which is for the July 2nd council meeting. Same thing. Any concerns? If not, motion seconded. All in favor? July 16th, which starts on page 509. And the question I had in that is on page 512. This would be for Ms. Smith. Do we really, are we really, are you asking us to provide our final decisions on Christmas Day or prior to Christmas Day? If you look at 5.4 on page 512, we would need to bring forward our spending ideas. I'm not being picky here about, Christmas Day, but there was no reference to that in any of the report deadlines that we had, so. But it wasn't Christmas Day.
Is on page 512.
Yes.
I can just speak to the schedule quickly.
Mm-hmm.
It was created by Director Douglas, and it's just
Mhm.
it's a date. We're not looking for anything on Christmas Day. It's just a date so that we can be mindful of it before Christmas Day. We could make it December 20th if that feels more.
No,
comfortable.
okay, but so it was said. I didn't pick up in the meeting. All right, I'm only remarking on the accuracy of the minutes.
So I'm
Thank you.
assuming it's the end of the year.
So essentially, yes. Yeah. Okay, thank you for the clarification. Anything else, council? Councilor Inkster is already unplugging, so Okay, a motion to adopt the minutes of July 16th, seconded. All in favor? Carried. And then our committee of the whole of July 23rd, where staff is looking for us to endorse the various policies that we reviewed and the minutes. Move. This is, okay, so the minutes, you're moving the minutes, Counselor Rowe? And the recommendations? Thank you. The seconder, we should be Counselor Inkster since you were chair of that meeting. All in favor? Carried. Can I suggest we could do the minutes of the various council to closed meetings? There's 6 of them. April 16th, June 26th, July 16th, June 25th, July 9th, and July 23rd. Unless anybody's got a problem, then a motion to adopt them all en masse or en bloc. All in favor? Carried. And minutes of the APC of June 3rd for receipt. Second, all in favor? Carried. Okay, council, I think then we go to the council reports and the SCRD. Who's going first, gentlemen?
I got a hard out, so if you want me to speak to that, then
Hard out.
it just means I have to leave.
Oh,
Soon. Yeah,
okay.
thank you. So I just wanted to mention a few things that occurred this week. We had I'm sure the chair it's okay if I speak to the fact that we had a sort of focus session yesterday to talk about the next few months, and we need to get a number of projects completed and or make sure the board's focused on a number of end of term projects and issues. That's a good way to sort of hone in on what's been done, what needs to get done, and make sure some of the important issues that have been in front of our community are either tied up or left for the next board with a couple of outstanding small items. Wanted to also mention that there was a food waste discussion, mainly the last COW, but it was mainly rural because other than the regional pieces of the landfills, et cetera, and the provider of the service to deal with it, but the pickup of those items is generally a rural issue. Seashell has had our own program for a number of years. There was a discussion of the electrification of the bus yard on Mason because that will entail some costs, but that's where we're going. Maybe it'll be hydrogen one day, but right now it's just electrification of a number of buses. Pickleballers came and spoke to us, board. They're still looking for a location. They're looking at a number of locations that may include Roberts Creek, but I'm sure Seashell has some ideas as well if they come back to us. And there was a presentation, written presentation from junior hockey as to speaking to the use of the arena earlier, which also has a minor hockey equivalency of wanting them. They work together, so they look at using the ice earlier with the junior hockey team. So I'm always supportive of what the junior hockey team does and what the hockey league does. So I think the board was very supportive of that. And those are my issues. And you might want to add something to that, Chair, but yeah. And that's it for me. Thanks.
Great.
Thank you. Yeah, the hockey ice time thing was an interesting one because between minor hockey and coastal tsunami, they wanted ice earlier and later at different facilities. So one group wanted it at the end of the season at one facility and one group wanted it earlier at the other facility. So staff will be coming back with an updated, we know the weekly cost of ice. And so staff will be coming back with that update for us in the fall before we go into budget. So yeah, I guess, thank you for covering that because that's one of the items off my list. Langdale Wellfield loan authorization bylaw came forward for 3 readings. Now that the board is done with it, that has to go to the province for approval. And then once the inspector of municipalities approves it, then it can go out to an alternative approval process, which is expected in sort of October, November of 2025. And then, yeah, hopefully we can get to a construction point next year. Sinkhole at the Mason Road Public Works Yard for the regional district. It's currently affecting all of the bus parking area. And it turns out, you know, much like many of our roads around here, it seems to be mostly logs and other wood debris underneath the surface that has rotted down over the decades. And so staff sort of threw a maximum dollar value to the board to be funded from sort of reserves and cost share from the services that are up there. Yeah, the water supply target was adopted by the board. It sort of goes into the water strategy. And it's just a starting point, but between new supply, conservation, the board is expressing a commitment to ensuring 750 liters per connection per day without going beyond stage 2, and 350 liters per day in an emergency situation. The staff are going to continue moving forward with the Langdale Wellfield to help meet those needs, as well as conversations around the long-term use of the siphons at Chapman and Edwards Lake, and the possible Sechelt Hospital Wellfield project, which is a few years down the road at this point. Yeah, the workshop yesterday was quite valuable. It was sort of themed around finishing strong with, 14, 15 months left to go. What we want to see sort of move forward from a bigger scale. It's less about like, oh, we need to finish this project or that project, and more about, what information do we need to move the needle on a lot of the things that the regional district is working on. So that conversation will continue in the fall. But regional district staff have been working very hard with the board to ensure that we got all of our decisions sort of done last week, so that pending an emergency, the regional district board can actually take August off. So yeah, I think that's my report for now. Thanks.
Okay, thank you. You said you had a hard stop, so I'll let you give your council report.
Oh, I can go back to that thing. Just wanted to mention two quick things. One of the things I didn't mention. Did I turn it off? Thanks. One of the things that I kept forgetting to mention was I went to a water summit at the Rockwater a number of weeks ago with a number of other water, I guess, governance people a few weeks ago as part of the regional district piece, and it was really good to meet a number of people there that sort of contribute to and are part of the governance of water throughout BC. So that includes people with wells and river governance of water out of rivers and lake stuff. So it was good to see the amount of people involved in water in British Columbia, the amount of people and the amount of sort of government organizations and NGOs that are involved in water in British Columbia. We think we have so much water, but there's a lot of governance involved. And then the final thing I was just going to mention was I went to the Half Moon Bay Fair a couple weeks ago. I think I forgot to mention that. It's I hope council is able to go to that. It's so well attended from all over the coast, especially that community that puts so much effort and so much fun and so many booths into that, into the Cooper's Green. They squeeze a lot into Cooper's Green, so it's a great event. Thanks.
Thank you. We'll go to Councillor Shepherd, then Bell, and start with then Councillor Rowe and come this way.
I'm dividing my report into fun and not fun. So fun was the slow food cycle. I had a great time. I think it's a great event for the whole Sunshine Coast. Our planning director zipped by me, dangerously close. But it was my first time out, and I think it's a great event. I hope it continues to build. Another fun time, East Porpoise Bay Picnic. It's always great. It's a great community building event. So that was fun. Sechelt Nation, great meeting with the Sechelt Nation Council last week, where a lot of time was spent on emergency housing for their residents, our residents. It's a mutual problem for the entire community. I think there's going to be some great ideas coming out of it soon. So looking forward to that. And that's it. Thanks.
Thought you said not fun.
Okay, sorry, the not fun was helping out a resident over the Heritage Act and archaeological permits. That's a very difficult issue.
Mhm. Thank you. Counselor Bell?
Yes, Counselor Shepherd already mentioned the Seashell Nation meeting, and this one is a visit with my CA hat on as with our MLA, but I want to bring it up just because I think it's just so deserving. We all know him, many of us. Aaron Joe from Salish Soils has been nominated as Entrepreneur of the Year Award, and he was recognized with more than 130 entrepreneurs. And I think it's tremendous that he is such a steward of our land and has such great vision of what he wants to do here in a very important time around food scarcity and what's happening with our tariffs and so on, but and helping us become more independent and looking at land and the way we can use it in a different way. So it was a tremendous meeting. We're very lucky to have someone like him in our community. Thank you.
Thank you. Counselor Rowe?
Not much to say. I will just speak to the meeting we did have with the nation, which came out of a follow-up from our road trip that we did to Port Alberni to look at the village model, which they're very interested in. So they wanted to get together again and speak about that. And so I thought perhaps Kelly Foley has not had a chance to present to them her reports and stuff on vulnerable people housing. So I invited her, and she did some great presentations, which are always good to see again. And the Cover the Coast that her housing group is, they've been working quite closely with the SRD, and they've been very interested in doing a housing summit, much like what we did with the water summit. And the First Nation Council seems very enthused by that idea. And those of us that were there were enthused by that idea too. So you may be seeing an invite coming with regards to that. And that's about it. Just work. Everybody, the program I'm running, everyone quit last week. So not a great week. But there's some jobs available.
Yep.
If anyone's a nurse.
Hey, thank you. Counselor McLaughlin?
Yes, I've just been getting out on various trails, Rowston Trail, Chapman Trails, Cliff Gilker Park, and kind of noticed that they were great when they were designed, but some of these parks are aged and they have issues. Like Cliff Gilker, we went around and all the bridges were washed out, and we really didn't know how to get across aside from scrambling down across. But so I am concerned that we maybe need to revisit those basic trails and make sure we get them up to snuff, because they're just wonderful tourist places that, as tourism could have explained, but most of the people that come, it seems, are coming to visit us or to come here and enjoy hanging out with us as friends or relatives or whatever. So it's important to have those places to go. We don't want to sit around in our properties. We want to get out and enjoy nature. But I think we need to maybe take a look at how to make sure those are safe and polished up a bit, because some of them are just quite worn, understandably, but not making me super proud when I head out. I know it's an RD park, but they're all our parks, right? Also, what else? Well, concerned a bit too. Of course, I went to the breakfast meeting with Seashell Nation. That was quite a long and enjoyable and nice, meaty kind of meeting. But the other thing is I did go to the water report at the SCRD. Always interested in water. And not I think we maybe should sit around this council and get together with our RD reps, especially to advocate for what we might want to see in terms of that policy. Because it looks like the way it was presented so far, 750 liters a day per person? Per household? Well, that's pretty much an average amount for Canada. Like, I feel we need to do more than that because I think, you know, we do have issues here. Others are having issues too, but we were the poster child in some ways for having these issues. So I think we need to look at how to do that more critically on our behalf. And the amount, just the reality, do we have endless water? Do we have, you know, one comment was like, oh, it depends. If you can spend an unlimited amount of money, then you can always get water. Yeah, but I don't think we really want to do that, right? We want to have within our means a responsible environmental way and kind of make sure that the pricing is fair. Because if the pricing is such that, you know, the average household size is 1 point whatever people, and we're basically, you know, well, in Seashell, it's not.
So, Councillor
It's important that
McLaughlin?
we look at these issues because the pricing is going to come up and that's really going to affect our residents. And I'd like to see us, you know, work on that policy together and not just necessarily the average, you know. I think
Okay.
we have more than average issues. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Toth.
Thank you. Water consumption on the regional system is averaging around 1,200 liters per household per day. So we've got a long ways to go to get to 750. The point that came up at the meeting that will probably not get picked up by the paper when they report and by others when they share it and talk about it in the coffee shops is that without setting a target, any target, some target, there's nothing for staff to work towards. And that's where the unlimited water at an unlimited price conversation sort of pivoted. 750 liters per day or per household is actually quite a easily achievable number without much effort on our residents' part. And once we get the meters in, once we move to volumetric billing, once we get the leak resolution program in Seashell sorted out, you know, maybe 750 liters is way too generous. And that's a conversation that we can have as a community, but that's not a today or this month or this year conversation. That's a 2 or 3 years from now conversation. And so in the meantime, you know, we needed to put something into the water strategy. And there will always be approval processes. There will always be budget requests, things like that. This isn't like the solid waste management plan and the liquid waste management plans, for example. Once you finish consultation, you can spend money on projects without going through an approval process. And that's not at all what this is about. And so I think it's important that people keep that in mind. Is like there has to be some number to be able to have the conversations. Cliff Gilker Park, I mean, that's in the budget to do a bunch of trail work there. That's $1.6 million that's being spent on replacing bridges in that park. And with the corporate work plan and everything going on, it's pretty unlikely that staff are going to be able to get to it in 2025. You know, there's a lot of community angst about that, not just in Roberts Creek, obviously. As Councillor McLaughlin mentioned, it is sort of a coast-wide park. You know, a lot of people like, well, it's just some bridges, just cut up a couple of trees and build a bridge. What's the problem? But there's archaeology concerns in that park. There's environmental concerns. There's creek habitat concerns. And so even if, you know, we have community members and community organizations that are ready to build those bridges tomorrow. But we still have to get the permits. We still have to go through the approval processes. It's not like the old days where people would just cut down a tree and plane it on one side and call it a bridge. Yeah, so it's unfortunate. It's frustrating for the directors as well. It came up at our workshop yesterday, and I'm sure it's going to come up at the rural directors meeting tomorrow. So otherwise, I actually don't have anything to add compared to what everybody else has mentioned. Thanks.
Okay, thank you. Okay, East Park Bay picnic, we talked about long running. I don't know if it's been 20 years, but it's been close. Attended the BC Ferries, had a Horseshoe Bay renewal session. I can tell you it's going to be a pretty heavy work site for probably a lot longer than we want to think about. They're taking the upper deck, all of our lane, whatever they are, 74 to 88 or something, is all coming down. They had the Keep Families Together job fair yesterday. What was interesting about that, there were, I think, as many employers as there were people who showed up to apply for a job. So there's not many people out there apparently looking for work. A couple of sad thing, we did mention a couple of weeks ago that Gary Knorr, the former Half Moon Bay rep and chair of the regional district, passed away, and I just wanted to extend on council's behalf our heartfelt wishes to Patricia and his two sons and daughter. And last but certainly not least, is the issue of fire and the fire risks with a couple of fires and a big shout out both to the fire department and the police who responded very quickly. Unfortunately, one of the situations, the individual has been fined, but that doesn't mean there's not going to be other fires soon. Okay, so that's from me. Council, we've got one item left. I think it's 10.2, and it's a letter for information. So motion, I guess, to receive. Second, all in favor? Carried. And Councillor Toth.
Thank you. I think it's actually really important, having been there as a called upon witness for the proceedings and the ceremony that was there that day. I think it's really important that we lend our voice to the ask here of the nation. This letter came to the SCRD as well, and the SCRD did provide a letter of support to the Sechelt Nation. So I would be willing to move that the District of Sechelt provide a letter of support to the Sechelt Nation with respect to having dialogue regarding the use of fines ordered in the sentencing with the province of British Columbia. I'll leave it there.
Okay, that's a second. Okay, I have to step out then, not knowing that this was coming, but I have a conflict and it is not related to Indigenous liaison, but something else. So that obliges me to step out for this vote. So you're still acting there.
I am. I've got 2 days left. I'm gonna milk it for all it's worth. Settle in, folks. We're having a discussion. Councillor Toth.
Thank you, Chair. In light of that, I would suggest that a friendly amendment to my motion might be, and that the letter be signed by the Indigenous Relations Liaison for the District of Sechelt.
Go ahead.
Sorry, can you repeat that in its entirety?
That the District of Sechelt provide a letter of support to the Sechelt Nation Government District with respect to having dialogue regarding the use of fines ordered in sentencing with the province of British Columbia, and that I can forward you wording here because I'm just reading the SCRD motion basically. Yeah, and that the Indigenous Relations Liaison sign the letter, said letter.
Any further discussion? Ready to call the vote? Are you sure? All in favor? Opposed? Jenny, can you get the mayor? I have a motion to adjourn. Are you okay if we adjourn?
Okay, anything else, council? If not, motion to adjourn. Seconded, all in favor, or adjourned? Okay, is there anybody online? Great, thank you. Then we will